can move over, babe, so you can pop in. There we go. You look grumpy. Gosh. All right, guys.
I have a lot to say about managing stress.
Yes, guys. I literally just told her like 2 minutes before we got on, like, what are we supposed to be talking about tonight? And I was like, well, let me go look. And I was like, oh, that's right. It was about managing stress because we've been under a lot of stress lately. And I'm not going to say that we are the best at managing stress.
Oh, no. That's why I was laughing. It's kind of ironic. Is that the point that we're talking about how we manage stress?
Well, I think some of the things that we do that, I think,
I mean, there's like the goals and then what actually happens, I think, are different.
Yes. And I think another thing too is that a lot of times this time of year we get to what's called Angry August. And it's just
Angry April and Angry August.
Okay, I wasn't sure about the Angry April.
Yeah, April's always awful because it's like the greenhouse isn't what you want it to be. The transplants don't. Nothing's.
Yes.
And it's like vamping up, and you're always like, we're worried about strawberries. So I feel like April.
We're always worried about strawberries.
Yeah, but that's true. We're worried about strawberries in April, and then we're worried about strawberries in August because we're
getting ready to plant
setting
them.
the plugs and stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes. So why don't you guys give us in the comments? Great question. On a scale of chick to Daddy Rooster, how are you feeling?
I think it was like chill to chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah. Well, I think let's start at the beginning.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Is that, it all really starts with a good plan. So she is not helpful at all.
No, it does. It does start with a good plan. I feel like our problem.
You don't see the plan.
Does our plan change?
No, I have a plan.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to show you the plan because she doesn't believe I have a plan.
No, I believe you have a plan. I just feel like we do a lot of planning and then we have to. Things pivot, and which is stressful.
All right, so I'm going to show you guys the plan because everything starts from this. So this is where the plan starts, guys. So this is the production plan, and there's different tabs of this. So this is the field plan right here, and this is kind of what we work through for the week, for the year. And then we've also got, we don't use that, but we do also have the perennial plan. So this is some stuff we've been working on for perennials. The transplant, the veg transplant. So this is in the spring where we do all the veg transplants. So this is what the greenhouse crew gets, and that's what they seed every single week. And then we've also got herb transplants.
People have access to these spreadsheets when they join Small Farm University, correct?
They have access to different versions of them. So they don't have access to like our 2025, but we will put 2025 up once 25.
But like even just the template that they can go in and tweak
they have the templates and all that. So
I just wanted to.
Yeah, and I think that's important there. And then we also have, I don't know if I can find a clean one, but we also have the quarterly planning.
That's what we do with Janelle every.
Yes. What is that called?
Quarterly planning.
Here we go. But this one right here, let me look at this right here.
This has got secret stuff on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for an old one. VTO.
Can't see this one.
Yes.
Perjure ourselves. See, we can't show too many people the plan because then we're held accountable to the plan.
Let's see if I can find an old VTO. I
thought we just kept updating this one.
No, we do have an old one.
Okay.
Yes. No, these are all anyway.
They're really helpful. I look at this one more than I look at the transplanting.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you don't deal with the production. Yeah. Okay, just a minute. Let me. let me pop this up here too. So, all right. So then this right here, present, let's see, stop screen, let's present. Let me pull this up too here. Share screen.
Oh goodness. Bree Johnson is a teacher and school started yesterday. It feels like a full week. She put a turkey leg.
All right, so this is the other aspect we use, and these are what we use on a quarterly basis. And actually, we meet about once a month. So we've got, this is what we do for the year, and so we've got some core values. We've got some different things that we're working through. We've got the, the 10-year target, what our, marketing strategy is. And then we have the 3-year picture, kind of like, what is that look like for the team? And then this obviously is where we kind of get down for
this is the most helpful.
Yeah, this part is the most helpful. The top part is kind of like the long range vision.
It's helpful, but
yeah. So this is the short version. And
I think the thing that is the most helpful for me is, the 1-year plan is obviously great because you got to know where you're going, but the rocks are really helpful because that just kind of helps compartmentalize the problems instead of them feeling like these big things that you don't really, they have a name, it's like, this is the issue, not just something you can't identify because you haven't spent the time thinking about it.
Well, and obviously, so on any farm, there is the actual, there's the operations of the growing side of the farm. And so that's the day-to-day. That's the harvesting, the planting of the lettuce. That's the picking of the beans. That's the spraying of the crops. And then you have like the other things, and basically it's the projects. And so right here you can see like well electric at John's. That was one of the rocks to get that installed. Obviously, in that big rock, there are like 20 or 30 different sub rocks. Everything from calling Duke Energy to get the plan to installing the well and running the electric and sizing the different things and putting the soil back after that's done and running the main lines and all that stuff. One of our rocks for the quarter was labor sub 30%. Our goal was to get more efficient with our labor. Another one for this one was strawberries, finish the cooler, build a pavilion, cooking class kitchen, in-house bookkeeping. And some of those are not done. And some of them change.
Those are.
Yeah.
And some of them change.
And I would say like for the in-house bookkeeping, I would say that is a little bit of a moving target. I think we are 100% happier with our financial system at the moment.
I don't think we've been this happy in
Yeah, the finance management side of the business is working. Now, not necessarily saying there's money there all the time.
Well,
we have a much better.
We have a nice line of sight.
Yes.
Somebody is looking at it and bringing it to us frequently, which makes us feel more confident in what we are spending money on.
Yeah.
Or not spending money on.
Yeah. And then obviously too, you got your issues list. So the issues list is something that we talk about once a month and just go over like, okay, what are the challenges the business is facing? And I do want to point out that I actually am on that issues list. So, you guys are going to see it anyway, but I'm on the issues list because I am our own worst enemy in the aspect of kind of like my drive kind of like can get us into trouble sometimes. So that goes there. So, all right. I think so. Again, we've talked about the stress aspect. So the first aspect of this is to, have that plan and work that plan, because if you don't have that plan, then you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And then I think the other big part of my plan is my daily book. So this is a daily book that I keep.
It's nothing fancy.
Nope. It's just a lined book. And that's just like literally one day's worth. Typically, I'll write the date at the top. I'm not sure why I didn't write the date at the top of this guy. But I fill out a new page every day. And I kind of just work our way. This is a more... And then also I'll use this for brainstorming because there's no actual date in it already. At the end of the week, I'll just sit down and I'll just do kind of like a brain dump and work through the previous days too, and lay that out. So we've got that. And then the other thing we'll have is we'll have daily sheets for the team. So once I do my daily for the day, sometimes in the morning, I'll go ahead. I don't know if you guys can see this and fill one of these out. Again, these are available in Small Farm University as well. But basically, this is a thing that I'll hand to team members and say, hey, this is your work instruction for the day. And the reason for that is that really gives them an idea of where they're headed for the day. So they can pace themselves, so they can say, so we can decide, when different people are going to go different places. Again, if someone says, hey, I want you to bush hog this area or flail mow this area of the farm. And then 4 hours later at the end of the day, oh, I was thinking we should bush hog that too. And they'd already taken the machine off. So having all that laid out for them gives them a really clear line of sight. I would say another aspect too is, one of the best decisions is to have radios. And I don't have some of the radios in here too, but being able to communicate well, I think is important too.
That has been.
Yes, that is
absolutely
absolutely
trial
key.
and error. Yeah.
Yes, but absolutely key.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think another aspect of this too is we have the 8 a.m. meeting. So every morning, like some of the crew gets here at 6 o'clock, and those are typically the crew that are full-time, know what they're doing. And so they're from 6 to 8, they kind of run and do their own thing. But at 8, we always do a huddle for probably about 5 to 8 minutes. Well, the team, you don't do the huddle, but the team does the huddle. And with me, and we kind of just go over the day, what the kind of the big picture is. The department leads talk about what they need to do. And we go from there. Again,
it's like a centering communicative time where everybody's in the same room. Otherwise, everyone's just kind of going different directions.
Yeah. So I think the biggest part of this is to have the plan and be able to work the plan. And that way you're not, you're not arguing over the plan. You've got kind of the thing you're moving forward together in.
It's like before you get married, you decide on the big things, So you don't have to argue about the big things. You just argue about the little things.
Jeff says we have plans, but we accept that they can change quite frequently. We grow timber, garden, new orchard trees, and tuna and strawberries, new ones next year. I just do what my wife tells me. Hey, that's, that can be a great strategy. That can be a great strategy. So I think, that is just having that plan. And then I think the next thing is kind of pacing yourself too. I mean, it's been a really hot summer here in Ohio. So one of the things I think we just mentioned is our crew's coming in at 6 a.m. So again, it's the crew that wants to come in. We don't force them to come in, but if they're a department lead, they typically are coming in, at least the outside ones. And they're out of here by typically 2:30 every day.
But they're doing that mostly in the summertime.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, they come in at 8. But again, we try to avoid the heat of the day. And so when they're done for the day, 2:30, I'll then also be in the office and work till like 4:30. Then typically go back out. Even at 4:30 though, this year, it's been brutal.
Yeah. You have been hot and sweaty more than you usually are.
Yeah. And then I'll usually work the evening too. So maybe a couple hours in the evening as well. So I think planning yourself so that you can try to optimize your time out as well is helpful. Mm-hmm. And I think another thing for reducing stress, and I want to say this tactfully, but ensuring that you have the right people on your team. This is one of the big mistakes that I see farmers make is farmers basically like, well, I just need someone. So they go hire anybody. And what I will say is that our farm, was like that at the beginning too, is we were hiring anybody. But as over the years, we've been now in business 4.5 years or so, we have strategically upgraded different members of our staff. And maybe it wasn't strategic. Maybe it was just like someone didn't realize they weren't no longer at the level we were performing and kind of weeded selected themselves out. We also selected some people out too. But as we've had better people working for us, things have gotten smoother. More processes have gotten off our plate.
I think it kind of happened at the same time too. It's like when you're starting out, your needs are one thing, and then as you grow, your needs change.
Correct. Too. Well, I think too, when we started out, we were hiring a lot of generalists,
mm-hmm.
and now we're hiring a fair more specialists. Just like, our retail management, that's changed drastically over the last 2 years. And I feel like we are at a place now where we really have the potential to really grow. And so now our job as the farm is to really supply the team so they can really grow.
Yeah, that's a really tense like ladder going up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We've been growing.
We've been growing,
and everyone I feel like has helped us get to another place.
in one way or another.
For
certain
sure.
people have certain strengths and then certain weaknesses.
Right.
But it really comes back, when we're hiring people too, and I think so that we're kind of moving into people here because people are the worst part and the best part of business.
We need to get that printed on something.
But so there's a couple things here that any employee that you've got to have is they've got to get it, they got to want it, and they got to have the capacity. And so we were reviewing a team member who works for us, and we were talking about, do they get it? Do they want it? And we realized they just didn't have the capacity for the role. Is that they thought they were, great, they wanted to be here, but they were in the wrong position on the bus, as it were. So if you look at Jim Collins, who talks about, and as you're on the tractor or mowing or doing something, all of his books, he's got Good to Great, Great by Choice, and Why the Mighty Fall. And those three, that trilogy is just such a incredible look at what businesses can be and should be. And he talks about, that the great businesses get the right people on the bus and then get them in the right position. And so, that's some of the hard questions we're having with some of our and having right now is, okay, is this person a good fit for the business? Yes, they're great. We love them. But right now, I think they're in slightly the wrong spot. So we're kind of moving them around the organization. So let's just give an example, and we won't use any names, but we'll just say, let's call her Trisha. Trisha was hired for maybe retail, but Trisha really finds that, dealing one-on-one with the customers is just not a great fit. But what we found is Trisha just loves numbers. And so what we've kind of moved her into is we moved her more into the customer service, not face-to-face, but over the computer, a lot of the inventory, a lot of the ordering, and she'll actually be moving into a lot of the shipping on the business. And we absolutely are we're thrilled. We think she's going to be a fabulous fit there. We think she's going to be able to kind of zero in on all the numbers of kind of what we need there. And again, as at the beginning, you're not going to be able to have that specialization. And so you're just going to be able to if you got people, and everyone does the same thing.
I think it's also getting to know people and what they thrive in, and what you need and what they are good at, So there has been just some of that learning as we go with people, because sometimes you just don't know right away. Or, we've had people hire in for one thing and be like, oh, you'd be really great here,
Yeah.
Because they're really charismatic and great with people. So obviously we'd love those people in our store. Or this person is so fast. We would love you in the field to do these things,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a good example and a good point of not being afraid to just have those conversations with people and be really transparent. I mean, something I always tell people is I don't want you to be here if you don't want to be here. And if you want to be here, let's figure out how to have you here happily so that we're all happy, because it's nothing more stressful than dealing with their frustration and stress. Because it's already a lot. So
Correct.
Let's not make it more complicated.
Farming is hard, and it's way harder if you're doing it with people that are not there. And I think the biggest thing too, if they're not a good fit, I think this is a mistake that we've made, is that hiring people is tough. And I think our business manager did the math, and she said over the last 2 years, we've hired 42 people.
Yes. And some of those, I would say the vast majority of that was seasonal, or we knew they were college students who were coming in and just working for these periods of time for this particular need. It wasn't long-term, full-time, none, there has been turnover there for sure.
Yeah.
But
what I will say is, if
it was a big number.
Yeah. The goal is to hire slow, hire fast, Sorry. Hire slow, fire fast.
That's Dave Ramsey.
And yeah, that's Dave Ramsey. And but what I would say is that we didn't fire fast. We were just kind of like, well, they're here, they're working. And instead of just going out and doing another search for that position, because it was a lot of work to hire someone new, we just kind of let them bump along. And the problem with letting them bump along is that as you're growing as an organization, if you demand of your people what's best for them, they will realize that they are no longer a good fit, and it will start to get not easy for them to work here, uncomfortable for them, and so they will quit. And they always quit at the worst possible time. We were supposed to be in Maine 2 weeks ago, and we were not, because we had several staff members quit at the worst possible time.
It probably was just an oversight on our end too.
Yeah, I mean those
year we won't do that.
Well, no. That is literally the best time for. Again, we planned this because again, here's the exact reasoning for the vacation that week in August is all the fall crops, all the fall direct seeded crops have been planted. The carrots and beets are in the ground. They are germinated. They've done their first cultivation. You have laid your plastic for your fall brassicas. Your strawberry tips are about to arrive. So you just like the week before your strawberry tips arrive, or your first tips have arrived. You've gotten all of them straightened out. The crew have already got the systems up and running. So that is why it was a really good season. And you also haven't gotten into the heavy aspect of your squash and your melon season yet. So that was why we decided that was the best week. And yeah, certain people derail it.
Well, we also had strawberry tips that were late too. Yeah.
That did happen this year too. So, but I was more comfortable with leaving with the strawberry tips than the, key holes in our management team for the business.
Yeah.
So I think that's an aspect of stress too, obviously, is the people for that. But yeah, making sure that the people who are here want to be here. And I think another thing about August too is you're losing your students too. Like we just lost, today was the last day of one of our awesome seasonal workers. She was on the transplanter today, transplanting strawberries, and the pile of trays on the one side that were empty compared to the other side. And again, the other person on the other side, great. We really enjoy them. They're a fabulous person too. But it's just amazing, this person, how fast they were at transplanting. So
some people just have really fast hands.
Very fast hands, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that aspect to the people aspect too is good. And I also think it's key too that just not work 7 days. So we take Sundays off, and it's just kind of relax. We'll maybe go down to the river for a bit. Oh, you want to sit with Dad? Do you now? Or you just want to play with Daddy's stuff?
Well, something that you've not done a ton of, but you've just like wanted to take an afternoon off the farm a week.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that just one day is enough, really.
Yeah. So I think that is something that we've tried to work towards, and we are starting to do that. Is yes, one afternoon after the crew leaves for the day, I leave the farm too, and to just go hang out someplace.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't just be, it shouldn't just be running errands, because that's still work related. To me, it's when I say go unplug. So go sit in a coffee shop, go even walk the mall. I've done that before too, just to kind of pace. In air conditioning, because it's been so hot. But I think that's important too. And the amount of ideas we get from that too.
You solved like 3 problems last time when you did that.
Well, the first one, I don't know if I solved it or created a bigger can of worms, but we had good ideas. We had some good ideas out of that too. So
well, it gave you space to think about it. It wasn't just like this dormant frustration. It was like, maybe if we reworked this, it would really. The boss has shown up for the discussion.
Yes, this is the boss, actually.
He's really not. He's the MVP, because the kid just kind of naps and goes along with the flow
and steals Daddy's glasses.
He's made 4 kids feel easy. I could just watch the baby in distress. Sometimes we do.
Yes. Yeah. So I think too, one of the other things I think that is important too, and this is something I see farmers do is, wow, buddy, that's getting brutal. We're gonna just leave those over there. And how
So
about
stress free.
Yes. How about you play with that one?
Oh,
We're
dear.
just gonna we'll make sure that you can't get anyone. Okay, there we go. We'll play with that. Is I think it is important too that the farmers realize their role on the farm. A lot of times I see farmers just go out there and try to do it, and they're great at it. They're great technicians. But the farmer is not on the farm, especially as the farm starts to grow a little bit bigger, to be the technician. The farmer is there to steer the ship. And I like to think of myself as the expediter. Like if you go into a kitchen, you watch the expediter. The expediter does a tremendous amount of different little things. A lot of people wonder what, but when the expediter is gone, the kitchen typically falls apart. And so to me, my job is to make sure that my teams and my crew are set up to do what they need to do. So I'm ordering seeds. I'm checking irrigation, making sure it's ready for them for the next thing.
You're orchestrating the movements.
Correct.
But you're not doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're not playing all the instruments. You're just. The
amount of lettuce I've transplanted this year has been maybe 300 to 500 heads for the entire season. And we put out about 2,000 to 3,000 a week. So that just shows you the only thing I have been really doing with that in that department is literally training crew on what to do. So I think, that's the thing is like, yeah, I'll go get that. Now, again, there is that aspect. If your business is a little bit smaller, if you don't have someone that is leading that team out there, that you absolutely need to be out there with them. And so when we started the farm, we had a lot of teenagers coming in, and they would only work for 4 hours in the morning. We'd have them all in the morning, and we'd be with them the entire time, leading them, showing them, cajoling them, cheerleading them. And then after they would leave, and then after they leave for the day, that's when we'd kind of do the deep work, the stuff that we can't do with them. So I think that's important too, to just make sure you're gearing up, because this is what I have seen someone come out. We again, one of the first team members we had was not good at leading people. And so, they would go show someone for 2 minutes to do something and walk away. And then we had so much rework. We had so many problems with people. Oh, I didn't know what I was doing. And they just weren't training well. And so, that's why I really like, especially newer people, to work with them. And so that there is,
okay. Don't we have an acronym for that?
We do. I think it's PACT acronym. No,
that's for shipping.
That's for shipping.
Yeah.
PAR. Is it PAR?
Yeah.
And what are here, I'll find it. You tag him. I'll find it.
I think another thing that, when it comes to leading people is just when you know that you always say, when people know you're out there or you're coming by, like you're just kind of like more on top of it because you're like, oh, I want to get this done, correctly.
Well,
things move faster when you're involved with someone.
Well, yeah. So, management by walking around. I think that's absolutely a good aspect. And, something my coach has been working with me on, though, is we've gotten to the point where we are doing management by walking around. But the challenge we're having is that the crew is coming to me for all the answers. And that's a problem because I now have a decision fatigue on my brain, and I've got a bunch of people working for me that I'm only using their hands and not their brains. It's interesting. Today, someone came out to me and asked me a question, and I was like, actually, there's someone much more suited to that knows that exact answer, and you need to go talk to them about that. I said, I am not making that decision. I know the answer, but you do not need me to tell you the answer. You need to go find the person who's in charge of that area of the business and made this decision to start with and get that information from them. Because, I just told them. I don't know how happy they were. I probably said it a little too sarcastically or smartly.
That's why Michael's on the problems list, on the issues list.
Yes. Yes. But let's break that down.
Okay.
Because again, if so here's the one thing is that the crew this morning got a little paralyzed because they didn't know what to do next. Remember? Because I had left my phone at home and we were transplanting this morning. And so literally they kind of got paralyzed because
they couldn't get an answer.
Well, but here's the reason: because they hadn't been trained to get the answer themselves. And part of that comes back. Let's just kind of break this back. Go back with this a few steps. Part of this comes back to the gets it, wants it capacity. In this instance, they didn't have the capacity to manage that level of the project. So what I had to do was I knew I had to spoon feed them on what they would get. And I actually still have to go work on more of that project tonight. But it, so that's part of the problem. And so, that's where it comes down to, are we comfortable with this person being able to manage this level of that area, or do we need to rehire or move part of that off to someone else's plate to make it a little bit more streamlined?
Yeah.
And again, some of the stuff that, we'd be way more transparent if you and I were sitting in the same room. And that's actually exactly when we do the intensives on the farm, is that we really get down into the nitty gritty of exactly these situations. But,
situations don't really matter. It's the general principles and ideas that are, because, everybody's situation and problems are going to be different in specifics. But the idea that you just want to have people, like, you want to set people up for success. I mean, that's what I always think. Like, I don't want to set myself up for failure, and I don't want to set other people up, to fail. Yeah.
And I think one of the things, too, is that that you have to try to get through, too, especially when you see people mess up, is 99% of the time, they are trying to do their best. Now, is their best good enough? Sometimes no. But they are trying to do their best. And so when you do realize that they completely messed something up, you kind of just have to smile and wave and, maybe go beat a tree after they leave.
Or stomp in your house.
There has been stomping. Or, again, I will sometimes vent to my business manager, and sometimes she's like, okay, calm me down now. But you do need to have that valve to kind of like vent. I think that is important too, is there has to be someone that you can talk to about some of this stuff. Hey, bud.
Well, I mean, you vent to me and you can vent to other people or our business manager. But not venting in general is good.
Well, I think that's the important thing is don't vent to your team, because then that also can come across as gossiping.
Yeah, or it just brings everybody down.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of our employees recently left, moved on, and someone was talking about it. And I was like, it's we appreciate having them and really wish them the best in their next endeavors. And that was it. There's a laundry list I would have loved to gone over, because this person was really just talking about how they were the bee's knees and they were great. And I kind of wanted to say, yeah, they didn't do half their job. And just lay it out for them exactly how they work.
He doesn't like the lion's mane.
He doesn't like the lion's mane. How does he like this?
Oh, magnet.
You want to play with that, bud? Does he want to go hang with the other kids?
I don't know.
So yeah, I think that's important too. So I don't know if anyone can summarize what we just said. And I don't know, do we have any other ideas? I don't know if you guys have ideas in the comments. You can feel free to put in your questions.
I mean, something that I always think about, like when I think about I'm not the one out there doing the production, so I am in the house, and I do like to make sure that certain seasons of our life that I know are going to be busier on the farm, we're just going to be like the one year that Simon did soccer. I was like, this is really not great timing. Like it all kind of happens at this.
Well, it starts in August.
Right.
It's
that's what
August,
I mean.
September, October.
Yeah. So it was just like, so that hasn't really been something we've continued. And that's just been a decision we've made for multiple reasons. But just those little things that it's like, how can we not add more to our plate? Kind of like you're a teacher and you started school. That obviously you can't control that. But the things you can control, keeping those very chill.
Yeah. Scott is asking, how do you encourage employees to reach benchmarks for time without losing them? Gamify it. So there's aspects of that. We actually just shot a little video on the farm here. But way back in the day, we were hiring teenagers for green beans. Green beans is not a fun job, and a lot of people just burn out over it, and they're not good at it. But what we did, and it was the stupidest thing, but it worked, is that if you picked a basket of beans, and there was a big basket, a bushel of beans.
Wasn't it like a 5-gallon bucket?
Well, 5-gallon buckets are actually orange baskets, which actually are about 7 gallons, so they're bigger than a 5-gallon bucket. But you got a bean badge. And a bean badge, all it was literally a bean leaf that you stuck on your shirt. And you would have 2 or 3 bean leaves on your shirt. And I don't know, it was the stupidest thing, but we have some funny pictures of the crew standing there holding baskets of beans with their bean badges like they were in the Olympics or something. So, I mean, a lot of it comes back down to...
You would race, too, sometimes.
Well, yes. And some of what it would come back down to is in order for the business to be able to stay profitable and stay in business, we need you to operate at X. If you can't operate at X, we either need you to find another job that you can operate at X, or we just need, you can't work here. It's as simple as that. It's not that they're a bad person. Some people just aren't good at picking beans. We recently had a young man who was here, and, again, staff is, if you have good staff, they're not going to tolerate other staff not doing well. And so he said, hey, you need to put some eyes on what's going on with this particular individual. Because he said, he's not getting his jobs done. And he seems to be spending more time taking water breaks than actually doing his work. And it actually was true. I actually have a page in my thing where literally every 10 minutes, he was walking from where he was working all the way up, and it was not close, all the way up, getting a drink or going to the bathroom or just standing and looking at somebody else. And the thing is, we do have cameras on the farm, so we do have a pretty good security network, which we can look at. And so that's what I did, is I just looked at that, and then we went out and talked to him. I was like, dude, what's going on? Why don't you like weeding? I was like, do you think I care if you don't like weeding? I said,
Did you say that?
Well, in so many words.
Okay.
I was like, your job here is to weed. And it wasn't that big of a job. It should have been a 20-minute job, which you stretched out into an hour and a half. And I said, it sounds like this is not something for you. And we aren't going to be able to have you back for these types of things. I said, we can have you back for a few other types of things. But that's going to be a lot less hours and prevalent.
Because it is different. Some people do not do well by themselves, and then there are some people, like one of the things we also do is working interviews, and you have to, it's something you look for, like, can they speak, have a conversation, and keep moving? Because not everyone can do that.
Yes. So can they talk and work? That's a huge one.
Yeah.
And then what's their tolerance level? Like, we had a working interview, and literally someone every 20 minutes, they were, needed to go get a drink or go use the bathroom. And that just doesn't fly. That just doesn't fly. I mean, it's interesting. Like, when I'm working, I will take a drink break anytime I'm near a faucet, but only if I just happen to be by a faucet. I'm not going to go out of my way to find a faucet. So like, we'll be out in the other field, and literally we get over there, and I go right to the where we have the irrigation thing, and I'm literally I bulk up on water, and then I'll go work for 3-4 hours. And then on the way out of the field, I'll do the same thing.
Drink an electrolyte when you get home.
And yeah, maybe I'll drink it. But I don't know. Maybe that I shouldn't be doing that. But I guess I've just trained my body to be able to handle things that way. Because this whole thing of a drink break every 20 minutes just does not work for people. But back to Scott's question, because it really was a good question, is one of the things too is kind of showing people what the benchmark is. So when we train people, and again, I couldn't find that sheet, which is unfortunate, but what it is we'll show them, and I'll show them 2 or 3 times. Like, here's how to pick a bunch of beets. Okay, you pick, these ones, blah, blah, blah. Here's how you bunch it. You clean them up a little bit. This is how you stack them in the bin. And then I'll show them another one. And then I'll have them demonstrate to me. And I'll say, I just want to see you do the process. I do not expect you to be as fast as me. And then I'll show them one more time to make sure they got it. And then I'll disappear for a little bit. And then I will come back and just check to make sure they're doing it properly. Because again, they can really go off course a lot of times. So you want to make sure you do that. But again, working with them. So that aspect of keeping someone, that's setting the pace for the field. Like if you're all weeding a row of green beans and you're at the end of the row and they've just, a quarter of the way down, you're going to get kind of just like, hey guys, let's kind of move a little faster here. But Scott, some people just aren't trainable. And so that's where it comes down to that. Maybe you're not a good fit for what we're trying to have you do. Yeah. And I think too, also telling them what the benchmark is. So our benchmark is if the lettuce field is good, you should be able to harvest 100 pounds an hour. Same thing with packing. You should be able to pack 100 pounds an hour. And so that's something that we have these set benchmarks for folks of how long it should take you to do X on the farm. And we will, we'll go through that with them. And if they can't meet that, if that's not working for them, and we'll try to find out why it's not working for them. It's just not a matter. It says are they physically unable, or are they just not?
They not understand how to set up the space to make it efficient, because that's been an issue too. Is like, this is how you set up your station to even bag that lettuce in 100.
Yes. Yeah. So we are very, very keen on flow, and we love rolling carts. We have a lot of concrete, an awful lot of concrete. We've spent so much money on concrete in the last couple of years, and I have a good concrete guy. And so we pour a lot of concrete.
Money to concrete.
And but then wheels, because we have concrete now, we can roll things. And so we've over the last year spent a lot of money and time and effort to make sure that we can roll things all around the farm. So and then we work always. The crew knows that when they pack, we always set up in C's. And what that means is product on your left, your workstation in front of you, and your finished product on your right. And yeah, they set up a seat. If they haven't set it up, I will literally stop what I'm doing, walk over there and say, hey, this is how we do it. It's a lot more efficient. It's a lot faster. And I'll show them exactly again and say, you got it? Okay, good. And I'll move on. But I think that is the aspect of, showing them what success looks like, getting them, so they know what they can do and how to make that work. So Scott, hopefully that answered your question, but yeah, good question there. So yeah, guys, keep them coming. If you have more questions, feel free to drop them in there. We are kind of getting to the end of our time, so we'll take maybe a couple more questions, or we'll talk for a little bit more, and then we will go put kids to bed. But I think another thing about the stress is not putting too much on yourself. Sometimes you just can't get anything done. There's just not enough hours in the day. And
is that an expectations? You have very high expectations of yourself and other people. And so
yes,
that is a frustration if you can't exceed your expectations or you meet your expectations.
Yes, if I can't get what I've expected to get done for a day, then I get.
You're like, I haven't done anything today. I'm like, well, that's not true.
Yeah, but then because yes, with that list of making sure you make that list and cross it off does help you make sure you meet better expectations. I think that's important.
Or even just like how long something's going to take,
Yeah, try to plan something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not feel like rushed so that you can get it done.
Well, this morning I did not. Yeah. Speaking of stress, I was stressed this morning. We were trying to transplant. I had our main guy is out for 3 days. He had to get his wisdom teeth done. And so he's out. So I'm trying to deal with what he normally does as well as what I normally do. We had to get the rest of the brassicas out planted this morning. And then we had to move in the strawberries. And then I had to go leave the farm at a specific time and meet someone someplace. So that was stressful too.
And it was frustrating even meeting that person. Or you were
well, I
thrown
felt
off.
I was a little thrown off, although it did end up
working out.
It did end up working out, but it was it felt a little, at the time it felt a little crazy there. So Mark and Jennifer say, I found that using the plan and allowing the days to flow make me feel less anxious and more successful. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you have the plan and you can like work through the plan, then that is absolutely. And I would say probably 2013, 2014 on the farm, I felt back in New York, that was about 10 or 12. And we just had a groove. We just really had everything. Everything was really just cranking away. We even had we showed you the master plan. And again, this is something I absolutely could do and just need to spend a couple hours to do it. But we even had a tillage sheet. So what we like to do is we like to prep beds 2 to 3 weeks in advance and then harrow them once or twice to go ahead and get a good seed bed going and stale bed to get rid of weeds. And so we had basically had that as we had this whole tillage chart and went to the different fields. And so that we never were like, oh my gosh, I got to find a place to put that. We always had a spot for that. And so we just never ran out of space in the field. And we never had like the problems with when you till, you plant, and the weeds just go crazy because we were able to kind of have that stale bed seed thing. So yeah, I mean, it does take some time to get there. I would say compared to when we were back in New York, we're operating about 50% of of the level of excellence in farming. So,
but I think that you have spread yourself into a lot of other areas that you weren't in when you were in New York. You weren't doing the marketing and the e-commerce that you were.
No, we weren't doing the strawberries like we do. So
or the retail.
Yeah, there's a lot more things we're dealing with. And I wasn't doing the online aspects and wasn't dealing with the regulation. I mean, I would say of our product cost now, 20% goes to regulation. So we're dealing with that. So yes. Scott's asking, are you guys selling strawberries again this year? Last year I ordered them, but there was some problem with disease. Yes, Scott. So we are doing strawberries this year. Unfortunately, we're pretty much sold out. I will go ahead and drop the link in the chat. So at this time now, we're only taking like asks. So people are saying, hey, I would like to get something. And if we can fulfill it, we will. But I would say yesterday I did have a call.
But don't ask for Chandler.
Yeah, don't ask for Chandler. That's a problem. Which is really interesting because I ordered 60,000 of plants and we got shorted a box.
I was gonna say that was it.
We just got shorted a box. It was not that much we got shorted. But yeah, you can go ahead and put your information in.
And there is no disease this year.
Yes. So yes, the diseases, there's no disease this year. We're clean on that. Plants look good. We're playing around with some new growing techniques. Pretty happy with that. First orders went out earlier this week. Next week, it's going to start getting really busy with tips going out of here. I think we'll probably clean out most of Tunnel 1, which is about 40,000 plants that will go out probably the next 10 days. But yeah, unfortunately, we pretty much are sold out. Yeah.
So what do you think are like top 3 takeaways for managing stress as a farmer?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to start with a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're just going to be flailing. So I think you get started with your goals of what your goals are, and then move from there. And again, another thing I really didn't bring up because it might be slightly controversial, But we invest in good equipment.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
No, I mean, we do. I mean, we just ran through our the amount of equipment we have at this point, and we're sitting on some serious money and equipment. And the reason for that is that allows us to do the job we need to do in the best possible way. Now, there's still some major pieces of equipment I want. Like, we are to the point now where we lay 2 acres of plastic a year for strawberries. And unfortunately, the biodegradable plastic has not worked for us in the southern climate for doing strawberry production. So we have to use conventional plastic, which I'm not thrilled about, but it is what it is. So I'd love to have a plastic retrieval. I would love to have a Mill Creek chip spreader, because we have a lot of perennial plants. And we just kind of just let the kids see if he'll hang with the kids for a few minutes. About done. So I think that is something that, we have invested. Now, again, we didn't start there. When we started the farm, we had our van, a minivan, a Honda minivan, and an enclosed trailer. And that was our pickup truck. We did so many pickups with that. We delivered every single week CSA boxes in that trailer. Now we have a transit van, which we love. I love that thing to pieces. It's the best vehicle I've ever purchased. And we just picked up a new truck, which is it was a 2001, so it's 20 something years old. It has 150,000 miles on it. Like, the paint job is like really messed up, but again, it's a work vehicle, and it saved me so much money with having a dependable, workable truck. But here's the thing. Don't take what I just said and say, buy good equipment and go out and buy an $80,000 truck. My truck cost us $5,600. Okay. We paid cash with that. I mean, I don't care if, it gets totaled tomorrow. I mean, we'll get exactly what we put into it out of it for insurance. Yes, we spend a lot of money on equipment, but we make wise choices on equipment that we know is going to work for us for the long haul. Because I will say that there is a high level of frustration that comes from when you could be doing something better, and you're just not being able to do it that way. So I think that would be, I think good equipment, good systems in place make a huge difference. Because here's the thing: if you're trying to weed a 1 acre field of carrots by hand, you're just going to get frustrated and burnt out and stressed. Having the proper tools to doing that, sizing yourself appropriately. At the beginning, only grow 3 beds of carrots, and that's what we did. We grew very little. And then as we scale, now we do probably about a 1/4 acre, and we have the equipment for it. So, but yeah, plan, good equipment. And then I think the third one I would do would be team. Make sure your team is properly managed and trained, and work with them. What would your top 3 be?
Obviously, the plan. I think expectations are really helpful, but that kind of that goes in with team. Like having good expectations of them, of yourself. And then, you and I could probably go back and forth on this, but even just you and I having like our areas of expertise, I'm not trying to go and plant lettuce,
Yeah, that's not a good fit there.
I could plant lettuce. I like to plant lettuce.
That would be interesting to watch.
I could plant lettuce. Like putting the lettuce in the ground. Are you making fun of me right now?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Maybe.
Because you're going to make fun of me when we talk about bagels.
No, but I just mean, even like as a couple, like there's plenty of people out here who are farming with their spouses. And sometimes I just need to stay in my lane and he just needs to stay in his, like I don't want to live in chaos and you don't either. Like if I wasn't, you don't have to think about a lot of the things and I don't have to think about a lot of your things. So there's some delegation just amongst us.
I don't cook. No. I can cook.
No, you totally can. You can do everything, and I can do some things, not everything. I'm not going to go fix a tractor. or plant lettuce apparently. But I can make some sick bagels and
Yes.
some really good English muffins.
Yes.
And I got
And those bars the other
those,
day.
oh yeah, those are gonna happen because the margin on that is amazing.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They were very good.
For labor and packaging and
Oh, they were
everything, it was
very
like
good.
$6.44 a batch, and you can make like 15 or 12 out of one batch. You can
Wow.
sell. Yeah.
Look at that. I've successfully trained her to do her recipe costing.
I didn't do it. I told somebody else to do it.
There you go, folks. That's all it takes. All right. Well, we are going to go put kids to bed. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully, we may have given you some glimmer into our crazy lives and maybe an inkling, something to help you.
I wish I would have known we were talking about stress before 2 minutes. I feel like we could have had a better game plan. But it's okay. We did it.
We didn't kill anybody. I haven't killed anyone yet. Again, having
It's
something
a
to
little
take
dark
your...
and twisty up here sometimes.
Oh, it does. All right, folks. You all have a great night.